games begin.
UMP putting in work. Last mag.
Not enough ammo to go around.
God damn it. I'm out of hand stamina. Got him anyway. God damn it, go in here. That's poverty 45. That is treasure trove of ammunition. You're fraudulent. UMP has been the MVP. hear someone in pain. Must put them out. You're welcome. No more suffering. Upstairs. Ow. Oh god. Let me suck my thumb. No, no, no. Hello. UMP putting in work. Can you tell I'm looking for trouble? Fuck. I've been counting. No fucking way. You guys are still breeding. Thing hits like the Mjolnir. Wait, it is called Mjolnir. That is some devastation, eh? Okay. My nose is bleeding. I got bonked. Expensive. Killed close to 20 dudes, I think. Oh, great. What a precious rifle. Bless your heart. He was so nonchalant about it. It's the most wonderful time of the year. scanning.
Hey, you. What are you doing? I like to watch. I want to watch you boil.
I can't do it with you watching.
Oh, not even if I do this?
Don't do that. Oh God, it's so hot.
Oh, yeah? Then why don't I take your top off?
Oh, I'm boiling. I'm boiling.
Yeah, now I'm gonna stick my raw pasta in you.
What's going on in there?
Megan? Hello, Alan Jolie. Thanks for the follow. Always forget I have that notification. How's it going? Uh-oh. I'm out of here. Work too hard to die. I'll just unload these mags. Ah, I did kill the fucking boy. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. My efforts were not in vain. I only gotta do it 100 more times. Let's take a quick break. I'll be right back.
capable of detaching, coming apart, under the skin, of course, so that the head swells to a huge size relative to what it starts. And there's a great gaping maw, which is capable then of swallowing very much larger prey than you'd think. The skin here is a beautiful mottled colour, which you could imagine would be very, very highly camouflaged in a forest. The snake has lost its legs. Losing legs is a very common thing among reptiles. There are many lines of evolution of reptiles which have lost their legs. What the boa constrictor is best at is throttling its prey. And I think that both Andrew and Squeeze deserve a round of applause. Thank you very much. Just looking at the outside of Squeeze gives us no real idea at all of what an extraordinarily complicated structure he and all other living things is. A living thing like Squeeze is not just more complicated than the microscope. It is billions of times more complicated than the microscope. Let's come back to pots. We've seen a designed pot, and we've seen a simple accidental pot. Now, here's a designoid pot. This is a pitcher plant. Here you see the individual pitchers. There's an enlargement. They're filled with water, and they're traps for insects. Insects fall into the trap and drown. This is how a pitcher begins. This is the next stage in development. It begins as a leaf. You see the hole just beginning to form. This is a young pitcher. And then we're going to see, there's the full pitcher, there's a fly climbing up it, there's a slippery area at the top, the fly's down into the water, it's now going to drown, and in due course, its products will be digested by the plant. Here is a live pitcher plant, here is one of its pitchers, you can see the little lid over it, there's the slip zone there, and inside is the water. It appears to be a well-designed object, a well-designed pot. If we were to do our cost-benefit ratio, our measure of the amount of water that it holds over the weight of the plant material itself, we'd find that it was a very efficient pot indeed. But we'd also find that if we looked inside, cut sections of it, it would have a very complicated structure. This is the inside of a single cell of a pitcher plant through an electron microscope. And you can see the complexity of it. What's more interesting is that this internal structure is very well fitted to make a lot of oxygen and secrete it into the water of the pitcher. And this has a very useful effect, because in the water of the pitcher are living a motley crew of little maggots and other insects. Now, what are they doing? Well, it's all very well eating insects, like a pitcher plant does, but a plant doesn't have any teeth, and it's difficult to eat insects if you haven't got teeth. So what the pitcher plant, in effect, does is to borrow the teeth of these maggots in its pitcher. What the maggots do is they eat the prey that fall into the pitcher, and then their excretory products are what are finally absorbed by the pitcher plant. So really, the pitcher plant is just getting the same thing as any other plant gets when it eats manure, in effect. But what the pitcher plant is doing is sequestering for itself a private supply of manure by luring insects and by supplying the maggots that live in the pot with a nice oxygen-rich freshwater atmosphere, which otherwise they wouldn't like to live in. Here's another sort of pot, a designoid pot. This is made by a trapdoor spider. You can see the trapdoor at the top. The spider lives inside. And another one here. This is the pot of a potter wasp. That's a solitary wasp, not like the social wasps which build comb more like this honeycomb here. The potter wasp, female, builds a pot like that out of mud and lays her egg in it, and then the larva grows up inside the pot. Look how beautifully it resembles this designed pot. This is a truly designed pot made by somebody in Mexico. See how similar it is to the pot made by the potter wasp. Yet another animal pot. This was made by a mason bee. Exquisite little thing. It is used for the same purpose as the potter wasp's pot, but it has a different structure. It is just like a house built by humans. These are little individual stones which the bee, the female bee, has gathered and has cemented together to build up this delightful pot structure. And the story doesn't end there, because we can only see one pot, but underneath here are 4 more pots. And they've been carefully covered up by the bee, who has gone to the river and gathered clay to cover over her pots. The clay is exactly the same color and texture as the rock on which the pot is placed, so that the bee's predators, the predators who might come and eat larvae out of the pot, would never know in a million years that there were any pots under there. Here's another beautiful example of designoid architecture. These gigantic megaliths like Avebury or Stonehenge are built by the Campus termite of Australia. They're huge structures like blocks of flats. Certainly on termite scale they are like blocks of flats. They are all pointing exactly north-south, which is another very cunning feature, because that means that they get the morning sun on one side and they get the evening sun on the other, so they get nicely warmed up in the cool parts of the day. But in the hot part of the day, the midday sun, that hits them end on, and so they don't heat up too much, which is why all these termite nests, they're called Campus termites. You can always, when you're in the desert, tell which direction north-south is by looking for a Campus termite nest. Even larger is this another kind of termite nest. You can see the scale there. This is a most colossal structure. The Austrian ethologist Karl von Frisch remarked that if humans built structures on the same scale as termites do, then the structures that we would build would be 4 times as high as the Empire State Building. So termites are very, very impressive architects. These designoid objects are very impressive indeed. We're switching now from objects which are apparently designed by animals to the design of animals themselves, the apparent design of animals themselves. And I'm beginning with camouflage. If you were walking through the desert, you would probably think, to a casual look, that that was a stone. But it's not a stone, it's a grasshopper. It just looks like a stone, and it gets protection from looking like a stone. And in the next example, this looks to me exactly like seaweed. It's one of my favorite of all designoid objects. It is in fact a fish. It's a seahorse. There's its head, there's its neck, there's its body. And these objects sticking out here are part of the fish's body, but anybody would think that they were parts of a seaweed. They look exactly like parts of a seaweed, and the seahorse hides among seaweed of just the right type. It's almost perfectly camouflaged. And we have a few more examples. This is a film of, and you'll see what it is in a moment, it's in fact a leaf insect. There's the shield over the thorax, there's the head, here come the wings, and when it isn't moving, perhaps even when it is moving, it looks exactly like leaves. It's just flown off. Here's another thing, looks just like a plant, turns out to be a green snake. And this, you would think, was a plant with a bud on the end, a long green stem, more buds. Only when we get to the front end do we just about spot that it has an eye, antennae and legs. It is, in fact, a stick insect. Look at these leaves here. Autumn leaves. Look at the vein up the middle of the leaves. Look at the veins on either side. Look at the little splodges of dark-coloured mould on the leaves. But those are not leaves. Those are butterflies. Look there, you can just see the body there, there. That's what these butterflies look like when they open their wings. This is what they look like on the underside of the wings. And they normally sit with the wings folded so that you only see the underside of the wings. And you're very hard put to it to see that they're not dead leaves. Only when they open the wings do you get this flash of brilliant coloration. Camouflaged animals resemble inedible objects. Designoid objects sometimes resemble other designoid objects for other reasons, because they're doing the same job. And this is called convergent evolution. This is an ordinary hedgehog. That is nothing whatever to do with a hedgehog, but superficially it looks like it. That is a spiny anteater. It is a mammal, but you might say only just a mammal. It's an egg-laying mammal, a very primitive mammal from Australia and New Guinea. As a matter of fact, its way of life is not that close to a hedgehog's way of life. This is an anteater, whereas hedgehogs eat more general things, insects and worms and things. But both of them gain protection from having spiny skins, and so they both superficially look very alike. An example of convergent evolution. An even better example of convergent evolution is the so-called marsupial wolf. Now, if you saw that going along on a lead down the street, you would think it was a dog. A slightly odd sort of dog, perhaps. There aren't many dogs that have quite that structure at the tail end. But you would think that that would not really be out of place at Crufts. But this is not a dog. It has nothing whatever to do with dogs. This is a marsupial. It's much more closely related to kangaroos and wombats and koalas. It's now, most unfortunately, extinct, only fairly recently extinct. It went extinct this century in Tasmania, went extinct some thousands of years ago on the mainland of Australia. And the reason it looks so like a dog is that it does the same job as a dog, or did the same job as a dog. It ran and hunted prey in the same sort of way as a dog does. And that's why it has the same shape as a dog. Okay, perhaps you could take it now, Bryson. Thank you. The structure inside also resembles that of a dog. This is a dog skull. And this is the skull of the Tasmanian wolf. It's a bit larger, but of course the size of the skull will depend on how big the dog is anyway, and we could easily get a bigger dog skull than this. The only reliable way to tell that this is a marsupial and not a real dog is if you look underneath. Those two holes in the palate there give the game away. Those are the telltale clues that tell us that this is a marsupial and not a real dog. A real dog doesn't have the same kind of holes there. Well, that's convergent evolution among designoid objects. Designed objects, too, sometimes resemble each other because they're doing the same job. Two aeroplanes closely resemble one another, not because of industrial espionage, not because of imitation, but because the wind tunnel is a great leveler of differences. These planes have both been designed for the same purpose, and when you design planes for the same purpose of flying very fast through the air and carrying a large payload of passengers, those planes are going to come out looking pretty similar. In just the same way as the dog and the marsupial wolf come out looking similar. So we've seen convergence between two designoid objects, and we've seen convergence between two designed objects. How about convergence between designed and designoid objects? Well, here is a camera, which is a designed object. And here is an eye, a designoid object. They both do something very similar. They both have a lens at the front, which focuses an image on a light-sensitive surface at the back. In the eye, it's called the retina. In the camera, it is a film. There are detailed resemblances as well. Both of them have an iris diaphragm. Opens and closes to regulate the amount of light that goes in. In an automatic camera, the amount of light that goes in and out is automatically regulated by a light meter, which says when it gets brighter, close down the hole. When it gets darker, open up the hole. And the human eye also has an automatic light meter. Now, I wonder whether we could have a volunteer to... Right, in the front row there. Yes, right. What's your name? Gillian. Would you like to take your glasses off, Gillian? Thank you. And come and sit down here, please. Now, what you do, please, is look into the camera there, and they're going to take a picture of your eye, of your iris. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shine this light into the other eye. And I hope it won't be too bright. And what we hope to see is that your iris will contract when I shine the light in. So look into the camera, and I'm going to shine the light. Did you see it contract? Look into the camera. There it contracts. Do you see it? I think it's best perhaps to look into the eye that I'm actually shining the light into. And not you. Look into the camera. Is it too bright for you? No. Okay, look into the camera. There it goes. Do you see it? Thank you very much, Gillian. And there are numerous other examples of living things being exactly the way a human engineer would have designed them. Okay, well, I hope that's enough to convince you that there's something special about living objects. They look designed. They look overwhelmingly as though they are designed. I call them designoid, and I asked you to accept this different title. But it's terribly, terribly tempting to use the word design. Time and again, I have to bite my tongue and stop myself saying, for example, that this Swift is designed for rapid, high-speed, highly maneuverable flight. And as a matter of fact, when talking to other biologists, none of us bother to bite our tongues. We just use the word designed. But I've told you that they're actually not designed and coined the special word designoid. And I said that there is a special process that brings designoid objects into existence and gives them their apparently designed look. What is that special process? The answer to this question was discovered surprisingly recently in the middle of the last century. One of the greatest discoveries of all time, made by one of the greatest scientists of all time, Charles Robert Darwin. Quite a surprisingly long time after he discovered his principle of evolution by natural selection, he wrote this famous book, The Origin of Species. This is an original first edition, inscribed by the author. Very valuable. Darwin began his argument on natural selection. He introduced it in terms of another process called artificial selection, or selective breeding. All these vegetables here have been bred by human breeders for different kinds of food purposes. There's ordinary cabbage, cauliflower, red cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi. Each of these different sorts of plants has emphasized a different aspect of the original wild ancestor, the wild cabbage. So kohlrabi, for example, has a greatly swollen stem. Cauliflower has a greatly enlarged flower. So does broccoli, but in a different way. They're all descended over the last couple of thousand years from the same wild ancestor, the wild cabbage. Now that's the wild cabbage as grown by Bryson. Bryson has many virtues, but green fingers are not among them. Nevertheless, if you were to take this home and grow it for a little while, water it properly and look after it, it would grow up into a wild cabbage. It wouldn't look very like any of those cabbages. That's the point I'm making. They've all come from the wild cabbage, but they're all very different from the wild cabbage. All the breeds of domestic dogs have been bred from the same common ancestor, namely a wolf. Those dogs look terribly different. You'd never think they were members of the same species, but they all, in fact, come from the same species, a wolf. Now, how do we get, what is this artificial selection, this selective breeding that enables you to go from a wolf to something like that, or that, or that? Well, I'm going to tell you very, very briefly what it is. You start with your ancestor, the wolf. And I'm going to suppose, for simplicity, that everybody on this side of the room is going to imagine breeding for smaller and smaller wolves, and everybody on that side is going to imagine breeding for larger and larger wolves. So in every litter of wolves that we get, if you're on the small side, what you do is you look out for those individual puppies that are a bit smaller than the average. And those are the ones that you breed from. And on this side, you breed from the larger ones. Now, it's going to take a long time. Generation after generation, you mate together relatively small dogs, wolves, and on this side, you mate together relatively large wolves. And after many generations, perhaps hundreds, perhaps thousands of generations, perhaps a couple of thousand years of this selective breeding, because there are genes involved in controlling the differences between the different puppies, cubs, eventually you may end up with something like what I hope is now going to come in. That would be the end product of breeding for larger and larger sized wolves. That would be something like the original ancestor that you started from, and that would be the end product of breeding for smaller and smaller wolves. What are their names? Jemima and Wilf are Chihuahuas. Jemima is a smooth-haired Chihuahua. Wilf is a rough-haired Chihuahua. And both of them, comparatively recently, are descended from a wild wolf. What's his name? Sequin. This is Sequin, who's a German Shepherd. And I think we could say that Sequin is the one who most resembles the ancestral wolf. And this is Archie, that's a fine name. Archie, a Great Dane, and he is what you get from breeding for larger and larger size, but they're all descended from a wolf, they're all cousins of one another, and Sequin is showing great interest. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Charles Darwin was very interested in dogs. He was also very interested in pigeons. Thank you. They're on my notes, Pigeon. This is a Marcinero cropper. It's a pigeon which has been bred by artificial selection from the wild rock dove, and in this case it's been bred for thickness of feathers and for size of crop. You see the great big crop at the front, which is blowing up like that, and see how big the feathers are. Now in the cage here, we didn't quite trust these ones to be let out. We trust this one. This is a domestic flight pigeon, and you see how it's been bred for this curious little ruff round the back of the neck, and also the red ring round the eye. The other one is an English short-faced tumbler pigeon. You see the extraordinary short face and the tiny, small beak. And that again is a product of artificial selection, just like in the case of the dogs and the cabbages. The beak is so short, in the case of the English short-faced tumbler, that this breed is no longer capable of feeding its own young. And so the only way that breed can be reared is by its babies being reared by pigeons of another breed. That sort of thing often happens, by the way, with artificial selection. It's true of bulldogs. You probably know that the bulldog breed of dog has a head that's so big that it can't be born. And the only way a bulldog can be born is by caesarean section. And so the entire breed depends upon humanity to keep it going. If we went extinct, bulldog would go extinct. Now, artificial selection, the process that produces these dogs and these pigeons and these cabbages, is too slow for us to see during the course of one lecture. But we can imitate it on a computer, and I'm going to do it with a program called Arthropomorphs. These are arthropomorphs. This is the parent arthropomorph, and round the edge of it are 8 child arthropomorphs. And they resemble the parent very closely, but there may be a genetic change, a mutation, a random genetic change as you go from parent to child. So that one, for example, has longer legs. That one's got its legs up instead of down. And the way you breed arthropomorphs, could I have a volunteer to... My goodness. Right, yes. Here. Have you ever used a computer with a mouse?
Yes.
Yes, okay. What you do then is you choose the one you want to breed from and just click it once. So he's going for the long-legged one, I think. Click it. It goes to the center and becomes the parent of the next generation. Now you see all the next generation have longer legs. What's your name, by the way?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Lawrence, it seems to be breeding for longer legs. I wonder if he's going to continue that. That's right. Keep going. Don't wait for me. Just keep on breeding. Okay, Lawrence likes long legs. And they're getting longer and... Okay. Now, what I said was that these creatures have genes which are going from parent to child. What would I mean by talking about genes in a computer? Well, in a computer, of course, genes would just be numbers. They're not real genes. They're not made of DNA. But nevertheless, they are genes in the sense that they are what go through from generation to generation. There's no sex in these creatures, by the way. These are all reproducing asexually, like stick insects and like aphids. Carry on. Breed as fast as you can to get through a lot of generations. So what we're seeing now, what Lawrence is doing, is artificial selection, just like our ancestors did with dogs and pigeons. But he's managing to achieve in a couple of minutes what would have taken several centuries for our ancestors to have achieved. What are you going for, Lawrence? What?
Legs.
You're trying to get lots of zigzags in the legs, are you? All right, perhaps we'd better proceed now. So thank you very much indeed, Lawrence.
And we are back. Nice break. Where art thou, Tarkov? Blunt force trauma, baby. SSDs. Ah, there you are. Hello. That is some weird place to hide. Ooh, nice gun. Am I shooting BB bullets? I heard him. Heard and hurt. God damn, there's so much momentum on my character. So heavy. Fuck, recoil. You comfortable there, buddy? It's a miracle I haven't been shot yet. Lovely, 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 lovely. I feel exposed. Damn, I got lucky. I live off the land. Where are you? There's nobody here. I know these guys are somewhere, I just... God damn it. It's not like it's a huge map, it's essentially Nuketown for this game. No. Ah, mystery. Yes, Alex, I know. These buggers. Hey, Cinderella, how you doing? Yes, that is Alex. Singing like a hurricane. How's Sonaland doing? Everyone's vanished. Not rushing yet? Not yet. Yet. Yet is the critical. The critical. What the hell? Oh yeah, when he sees women, he turns into a womanizer. You gotta grab all the attention. That's some good armor. Oh, definitely not me. Defo not meo. Too much bush in the way. Ah, that is the boss. I don't think I killed the boss. Therefore, I lose. If this is M993, no, it's M80. Look at the pockets. Ah, that is the boss. Well, someone else got to him first. It was the Jesus. Comrade Sender, reporting to your nearest advisor. Suka bled. That's what he looks like. Oh, 7 minutes. I gotta get out of here. Before that... Whoa! Where? That scored me. You working out, bro? In the gym? No, that's not the gym. I think I'm just gonna go. The boss is dead. I can't do nothing. What's the matter, dude? You're only carrying around 104 kilos. Don't be a pussy. So... the objective of this game is, well, it's like, imagine it's like an MMO, but it's stage-based. You do raids, right? You do raids, you collect gear, you level up, you increase your proficiencies in all sorts of aspects. There are bosses to kill, there are players, there are NPCs. This type of game is called an extraction shooter. You basically, you know, go in with whatever gear you want as long as you have it or can afford it, and leave with whatever you get to loot and take out. So USEC is part of the PMCs. Guards are the boss's guards. Sadly, I didn't get to kill the boss. That's the objective. There are also a lot of quests in this game. Like, there are different traders, so are vendors. I'll show you. There are like 6 or 7 traders. They all have separate quests. They want you to do sometimes fetch quests, kill quests, mark quests. You know, some of them generic, some of them interesting. And you do the quests, you level up, you gain access to more of the game features. There's a base to build. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the tasks. I've completed the quest for all of these guys. But the more you do, the better you're crafting. You can craft better items. The more quests you do, you get favor with the traders, which allow them to sell you or allow you to buy more high-end gear. Each trader has like 4 levels of royalty. You get to the max, you get to buy the best stuff. This is your base. You can do all sorts of things, craft all sorts of shit. There's a shooting range. And then you get your character, right? Tasks. This is one of the final challenges of the game. All of those locate and eliminate. These are all bosses. So I'm supposed to kill each of them 15 times, which... Dios míos. Yeah. I'm trying to kill Glukar, which spawns in the lab and some other places. The lab is the most easiest place to get them. I've manually set the spawn for the bosses to 100%, so they spawn every time, so I get to kill them or get killed by them. Lots of shit to do. And these are all the oh, never mind. Where are the tasks I've completed? There's so many. I don't think it... Does it list how many? Yeah. Shows you what you've done, shows you who you've killed, shows you how much you've traveled on your little foot. Anyway, the skill menu is huge. These are all the skills I've maxed out. Endurance, strength, metabolism, fart perception, fart immunity, fart attention, fart memory. Yeah, and there's all of these other ones I haven't leveled up much. Whatever skill you use, they level up. Same with weapons. There are a lot of weapon masteries that have mastered a lot of them, and there's this many more to go. It's a never-ending battle. Right now I'm working on leveling up my, where's my sniper rifle? Okay, so it's a DMR then. Marksman rifle. There. Sword International Mark 18. I'm trying to level this to the max. Then there'll be one last... But how is that a marksman rifle? It's a single shot guard... Oh, whatever. There's also the SVD I gotta max out. There are 3 levels each. For the assault rifles, I've done everything apart from the HKG-36. So that's the last assault rifle to master. Shotguns, machine guns, nada. Pistols are hard. Anyways, there's fuck all, you know, there's so much shit you can do in this game. Sky's the limit. So this is, I transferred my save from an earlier version of the game that had also hundreds of hours into it. This one, this character, overall, I've done 406 raids. This is the new version, right? The old version, I don't even have, hold on, let me see here. Registration, yeah, this version I've been playing since, yeah, August 15th. And I have... how many hours? Well, I've killed 2,600 dudes. Does it say play? Oh, account lifetime. On 112 hours and 48 minutes. That's just purely in-raid hours. Before I transferred my save, though, you lose all those hours. Let me see if I can find them. Pictures. Tarkov. Tarkov. Aha. Aha. The bro has indeed played a lot of broies. Okay, let me show you my nudes. I mean, my account. So see, I've done what here? 400 raids, 2,600 kills. This is for this game. And then display. This is my old account. 800 raids, 20,000 kills, right? This was my old account. See, it was in no, December 6th. I played it for 1.5 years before I migrated, so 20,000 kills. Headshots, 11,400. Yeah, this is my old account, baby. We now can... and before this, there was another account I played for a year, so... yeah, plenty of experience. Savage indeed. We ravaged those pussies. I just want more gas analyzer. Why is this so hard? Yeah, that's a bot, but it's funny. Anyway. Sauvage indeed. Now we sell the stuff we looted earlier. Now we sort the inventory, because that's what we do. There's a lot of inventory management if that's your thing. It's my thing. You Dr. Bear. You sick. Problem with this game is still, you know, when you have a lot of items like I do, the game slows down. That's the only problem. Well, one of many problems, but yeah, you get the gist. Oh, garbage scope ring. Sell, 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 keep, sell, keep. Ding, ding, Donk, 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 dink, donk, donk, donk. Keep. Lots of inventory management. These are the worthless ammo I don't want. Oh wait, I do need that for crafting. Sell, keep. Anyways, it's been 2 hours. I gotta get out of here, Cinderella. Thanks for dropping by right at the end. Some friend you are. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to guilt trip you. I'll see you soon, friend. Get some sleep. See you around, buddy. Bro.